Welcome to the cozy confines of the Carolina Football Players Lounge. Brad Muller joined by Dylan Thompson and A.J. Cann. The seniors recently returned from Israel, where they went on a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Guys, tell us about your experience in Israel.
I guess I'll go first. Wow, I mean, you can't come back and just say the trip was like blank and put a word or a sentence behind that. You see so much stuff. Spiritually, culturally, and the people you meet, you never forget their faces, and it's just really cool that football brought it all together. And you think, somebody in Israel, maybe 10 people in the whole, nation know about football. Completely wrong. Those guys do everything, and it was a really special place to go and visit, and it made a huge impact on us.
The purpose of this trip was a football camp, and as you said, not too many folks think of Israel and football. They think of maybe the other kind of football, but you guys seem they're real anxious to learn the game.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like as soon as we walked onto the field, they took us in, loved us. They were ready to go, ready to learn. It was so many kids there that they were just so ready to play. They were so attention to detail. Everything we taught them, they was picking it up just so fast, just like this. And there were so many kids there. I was saying to myself, man, I wish I could bring this kid back to the States and see what he can do.
Tell us how this trip came about to begin with.
Yeah, so there's a group back in my hometown that does a lot of these trips with different sports. And long story short, the only week we had off this summer was the week that this trip was taking place. So that we felt like guys all over this, and just in control of the trip. And we did that. We had to raise our own money, a good bit of money. And we had to raise it and get the money from people we knew prior to 9th grade, which is difficult, to think back. Did I know them way back when, But we were able to do it, and obviously because NCAA rules, you have to be careful about all that. But we did it and raised the money that way.
Tell us a little more about the structure of the camp itself in terms of what you were doing on a daily basis. How many of the other instructors were there?
We had about 7 guys with us, some that are still coaches now, me and Dylan were the youngest guy, only players. And just basically what we did, we went to about a practice each day, lasted about 3 hours, and just basically taught more football sense, more skills and drills to fundamentals to the guys that were new to the game. Some guys played 3 years, 4, some guys was their first time stepping on the field. All we wanted to do was teach those guys, some of the best drills we know, just wanting to give them more football knowledge to the game.
They seem to pick things up pretty quickly.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it was crazy how well they understood and caught on, and you could just tell they were raw. I mean, they haven't, some of these guys are athletic enough to be great at football, but after 19 years, they had stepped on a football field 3 times. And here, if you're 19, you've probably stepped on a few more than 3. So they would just pick up and want to learn, and we'd say, all right, water break, 2 minutes. No, we're good. Let's keep working. And it was neat to see that kind of work ethic and everywhere we went.
About the facilities here, you have these lush green practice facilities. What was it like?
Some places, that was funded by guys from the States. You had like nice turf fields, like the Kraft Stadium was a nice place. But some places, man, we were just stepping on like dirt and just right in the middle of some deserts. It was a football field with grass, and I was like, wow, we're practicing that today? It was crazy.
Yeah, it was top to bottom. I mean, like here, some high schools are really, really nice, and then some are not so nice. But there, like we said, it's more like a park. Some guys have turf, some guys a little dirt, maybe some grass, and but you just forgot about all that when you see these guys that get to working with them. You just forget about the location, and all right, this is what I've been doing for a long time. Let's just get to work.
How many different places in how many days were you actually doing that?
Flight got delayed going to Israel, so we were there a day late, but I think we did 6 and 6. Yeah, we did 6 camps in 6 days. And so we were got about 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, and it's nonstop, but it was good.
How many attendees did you have at each camp?
No more than 25, 30 guys at each camp.
For team, yeah.
Yeah. Some days we had less than like 10, 15, then the maximum was like 25, 30.
Any particular drills that anybody seemed to excel in over there that they said, hey, they've got a knack for this?
I say they could all move well. Yeah. Like, even the linemen. The linemen were really agile and could change direction from what I saw. And then the quarterbacks, it's just like, I think it could be helpful because a lot of kids here maybe learn the wrong way. In Little League, you know, they just have a guy out there that likes football teaching them, and he doesn't really know. But there, when they get something for the first time and they're being taught correctly, I think it's cool to see how their fundamentals are just solid, you know, and they can build on it. So it was neat.
It surprised you?
I was wowed by it. Like, I see guys, it was one kid, you know, it was like 6'6", had to be like 280. I can't remember his name. And I was going through the drills. I'm like, wow, man, you never played. And he's like, no, I've never played football before. And he was moving like cat quick to be that size and to never play. It was amazing. It was amazing, man. It amazed me.
Yeah, same. When I left, guys were like, you know, I've done this in Turkey and random places, and it's about like junior high football. And that's not the case. These guys were, I mean, not all the guys were great. So, like I said, some guys had never played football, but once they got it, they were pretty solid. And you could tell if they worked like that for a month, they would be good. And it was very surprising.
You guys were surrounded by folks of all ages who wanted to learn the game.
Yeah, for me, the first day started out, very first camp we did, I had a 14-year-old kid there ready to learn, a few of them, but the youngest one was 14. And then the very last camp we did, I had a kid, a guy, I guess, adult, that was 37. And so you see that age range, but the hunger is still there. Those guys want to learn football. And they don't care how old you are teaching. If you know something, come help me out. And that was really cool to see. And I'm sure AJ had a say.
Yeah, because it was crazy to me because when we teach them, you know, we have all groups together. Like you said, we have the adult leagues and the high school leagues all together. And I'm teaching the O-line. You know, I have at the same time, I'm coaching the guy who's 14 and I'm coaching the guy who's 35. And they're both just picking up and just eager to learn, just like that. It was crazy.
Were there any language barriers?
No, we were shocked. When we first got there, we were expecting, you know, how much Hebrew can we learn in a week? But no, it's cool because they start learning English in 2nd grade. And so obviously the youngest kid there is 14, so he's got multiple years of experience learning the language. And obviously some guys are better than others. For the most part, it was fairly easy to talk and get your point across. But we tried to learn some Hebrew.
Yeah.
So I can give you one word right now that's in my mind. Saying Avodah Tovah means good job. So if you ever need that in your back pocket.
And Tovah means thank you, right?
Yeah, Todah, yeah.
Todah means thank you.
So anything you can incorporate into a game coming up in the season, you know?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, we
Avodah,
could, maybe like if rare occasion to have a rushing touchdown, he blocks well, I could just Todah, you know, thank you.
Thank you. And I can tell him, Avodah Tovah, good job, man.
Before you go on your trip, was there any apprehension? I mean, this isn't exactly the Club Med when you're going over to Israel. There's a lot going on over there. Were you guys nervous?
Well, there was some points in time where, you know, you felt a little bit out of place and a little nervous, but at the same time, I was safe. You know, it was crazy there because, like, you know, it's common. You know, you see a guy walking down the street smoking a cigarette. You know, you walk by him and, hey man, how you doing? There, you have a soldier just walking down the street, you know, with his weapon, like it's okay. Hey man, how you doing? I'm like, hey man, how you doing? That's crazy.
Yeah, and I kind of telling AJ, he's from Bamberg, never really been out of the South. We were talking about it before, and we were both kind of not nervous, but just anxious to see what it's like, because I'd never been in the Middle East, and obviously he hadn't either. And but the thing that was, I guess, cool once you got there, and neither one of us can explain it, you just feel safe. I don't know what it is. You don't feel any threat of anything, and obviously there's some stuff going on there. We've heard about it a lot since we've been back, and while we were there, more so than before we went. But it's just something that's happening, but we felt safe the whole time.
What was the reaction to your trip by your family and coaches when they found out you were going?
Well, I told my dad and my stepmom and them, and first they were a little bit nervous too. They called me Jay. They was like, "You going all the way out there?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Israel." So they were happy, you know, to see me going out that far, you know, doing something, because I'm pretty laid back. I don't get to do too much. So them seeing me go that far away, just have some fun, you know, experience things, they liked it.
The biggest cultural differences over there, and maybe how is the average day in the life of a 19-year-old in Israel different from you guys?
Yeah, the only difference I would say is the threat. You know, some of those guys, without getting into too much specific stuff, we think we have tension here in certain areas, but their tension is, you know, when I'm walking home from work, I've got to be a little worried about somebody attacking me. And I don't think we walk around with that fear every day, but some of those guys do. But another thing that really, I guess, motivated me was whether it was a grown man, like I said, or a kid, those guys just listen so well. And I think I've even lost some of that and just getting used to American culture. You want to have the answer to everything a lot of times. And those guys, I mean, a grown man coming to me, teach me, you know, like you don't see that here. You know, I don't think Steve Finks ever come to me, hey, Dylan, teach me how to be a better media relations director or anything, because obviously I wouldn't know what I was doing, but just this is different.
Any of the kids or adults stand out in terms of maybe not talent-wise, but just on their interaction with you?
Yeah, because like Dylan said earlier, and you asked us about the language, like I would come up to a kid, you know, he's speaking just as good as me as English. I'm like, wow, man, are you from the States? I asked most of them, I was like, you must be from the States. It's crazy how good they can talk, man. It
was cool. You could tell we meant something to them. Yeah. And we're just dudes coming from America, you know, that happen to know about football, but they're wanting to share life with us. Yeah. And they were in the middle of a tough time, and I think football brought us all together. It was kind of their rest. Like I said, the guys have to do military service. So I remember one kid, he had been up since 4 a.m. Searching for those kids and everything. And the camp we started was at 7 p.m. So he had been up since 4 a.m. going all day, but he comes out to football practice at 7 at night just to get away from it. And we shared and talked, and it was really cool to see how those guys just can open up so much just through football. You know, and just through meeting some guys that want to have fun playing and teaching them the game.
Does a trip like that change your perspective on things when you come back, or did it change you in any way since you've been back?
Well, yeah, you know, it really does, because, you know, you can see, you know, in the way other people live, you know, how much they put forth the effort to do things, and they want to be better at life, either it's just football or other things, you know. And it made me think about, you know, how much I got it made, you know, not being such in a dangerous place as those kids, and to be living here where I got it good at, you know, it just changed my life, you know, just to see what they're living in and what they're going through, you know, it's crazy. I couldn't imagine, you know, just living in life like that every day.
You see so much stuff, like we've said many times, you can't just give a paragraph or sentence about it, but just an example, I mean, you go to Charleston right now, and they take you to a building, and you know it's just 250 years old or whatever the number, and then you go there, and almost every place is like the ground you're standing on is 4,000 years old, and it's just like, what? You know, it's a few years older than me. But the thing though that is really, really neat that I've learned is just over there is proof for me that I come back with, and just for me and my faith, and just seeing everything is real. You know, it's not just some made-up thing. You go there and you see exactly where stuff happened. And but the people too, just I'll never forget those people, how gracious they were, just letting us in. You know, letting us do what we do and have fun. And I think that was something that I always try to do a better job of here, just being gracious for everything.
You think there'll be some Gamecock fans in Israel now looking out for us?
I was sitting down, putting my cleats on, and the kid came up. He's like, AJ, the number 50, I watched you on YouTube, Arkansas. And I was like, are you serious, man? He was like, yeah. He said, like, they're all like big American football fans. They tell us that they wake up like 3 and 4 in the morning just to watch college and NFL games. And I almost got emotional. One kid came up to me, printed out a picture for me to sign. I said, you want me to sign this for you? He was like, yeah. I was like, I don't even know if he knows me, or I never met him. He never met me, but he wants me to sign, give him an autograph on a picture he printed out, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, they just, like I said, appreciative, man. They go out of the way to, I mean, they knew, I would say 70% maybe of the kids knew who we were, knew about us and our team, and obviously Coach Spurrier, and it was just like, we're in Israel right now. We're not in Colombia, you know.
What about your relationship? You guys are actually, you know, obviously good buddies and roommates, and had a good relationship before. This strengthen your guys' friendship and as teammates as well?
Not really. I don't like him like that. Yeah, man. I think it. You know, where it was at now, you know, I think it might have grew even bigger. I don't know if it can get any bigger, but I'm glad we're cool like we is now.
Yeah, we just got to see some stuff that not many people, individuals, get to see, and we got to see it, you know, together, and be able to come back, tell our families and friends about, you know, exactly what we saw, who we met. It's true that you can be 320 pounds and float in the Dead Sea. He did that.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool experience for me too as well. You know, that swimming in the Dead Sea. You know, Dill and all the other guys were like, "Come on, AJ, you can do it." I'm like, "Man, I can't swim." And they're like, "You float." I'm like, "Y'all guys are like 200 something." I'm like 320 pounds. I'm not gonna float in this water. So I get out and I'm tiptoeing, and I lose my balance. I'm like, "Oh man, oh man!" All of a sudden, I'm coasting. About 300, 400 yards out, I'm floating in the Dead Sea. Not moving the muscle, just floating along.
Any other, you talked about being standing on hallowed ground or 4,000-year-old ground and buildings, things like that. Anything else stick out in your mind that you'll always remember?
Probably just those things, those things in the Bible that went on with Jesus. We was able to, like he said, be there and witness what happened. And just to be walking around in a place like the Garden Tomb, it was just crazy just being there, walking around where he was at. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and I just think it was a special place. Everywhere you go is some huge amount of history. But something that stuck out to me, it's just like we were in Nazareth where Jesus grew up, and there's like a little, called a mountain, but it's basically a bigger hill. And then right over that hill is the Valley of Armageddon, where the last battle is going to take place. So you got to think Jesus grew up knowing that it would end right here. And so it's just cool, like having the end in mind. A lot of people say that quote, but Jesus lived that out, and that was neat. But everything you see, you come back and it all just runs through your head at different times, and you just pass. Well, you go down the street, and like here, you like go to Charleston this way, Spartanburg this way, and you go there, and it's like Jerusalem here, Nazareth here, and so it's awesome to see all that.
How did it feel when the plane finally touched down and you're back in the States?
Well, we said, man, it kind of felt different. I was telling them, I kind of almost didn't want to leave, really. I could have stayed there a little longer, but just to be back safe, because like he said earlier, it's kind of a lot of dangerous things going on now that we left. I was kind of glad to be back home, but I really missed the place already. I had a great time, great group of guys. I miss it already.
Yeah, I remember someone asked us, would you go back? And we were like, shoot, we go back tomorrow and do it. But it gives you a different perspective. I think we worked on some in-game toughness, being able to hold our composure in that situation and then be back here. But it was a good time, and just glad to be back.
Glad you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for telling us your story. For Dylan and AJ, I'm Brad Muller.